Welcome back to the 4th day of Worlds 2024 play-ins here in the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany. 2 teams yesterday got their tickets for the Swiss stage, and today the stakes are higher than ever because 2 teams will get to continue their hope in joining the next stage, and sadly, the other 2 will fly back home. It's Elimination Day at Worlds 2024 today here in Berlin. The fans are ready. GB, Jat, are you ready?
Yes, I'm completely ready for this.
Was there a slight hesitation there? Was it?
Yeah.
But we are ready.
Normal.
It's Elimination Day. 100 Thieves is playing on Elimination Day, which was not in the plan, but it will be part of the history.
But any heist movie, there's always one thing that goes wrong. You know, one guy's an imposter.
True.
You gotta
need to know how to entertain the audience.
It's part of the plot. It's the second movie before they come back in the end. That's the hope, of course, here. As I said, 2 teams advanced to Swiss stage yesterday. MDK make it in play-in despite general expectations when it comes to Mad Lions.
Had to happen eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten a very new, meaning to MDK at Worlds Aware all of a sudden, because
we like
it's suddenly we've suddenly given it a positive spin. And I mean, the man in your screen just earlier, Alvaro, he's had a fantastic play-ins. Like, we thought that his highlight reel was only ever going to be for the first game series they had against Vikings, and then he, blew everyone away once again with his performance against PSG.
Every time they needed to play, Alvaro was there, especially the Alistair flash Q on LeBlanc W was just chef's kiss into Maple.
W indeed.
But interestingly enough, GAM was the most dominant team so far in play-ins. They didn't drop a single game. They also subverted the expectations that we all had with how measured and controlled they were in that game. They were less than half a combined kill per minute in their final game, which is really, really slow for them.
Yeah, that's what Kiaya was saying yesterday in the interview. Still the fire, the craziness about GAM, but more polished gameplay. We'll see them advances to the Swiss stage later on, but let's take a look at the brackets to see what we have on our hands today, because as I said, no more mistakes allowed. If you lose today, you go home. So what do you want to focus on? What is your approach here for this?
So you can see the top of that bracket. They call that the upper bracket. Some people call that the winners bracket. Some people call this lower thing a bracket for losers, the losers bracket. But let me tell you, 2 winners will get out of here, and people will forget that they were losers previous days. So literally, win 2 series, go to Swiss. That's all any of these teams need to think about. The past doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is going to be what's before them.
Yeah, and I also think it's really interesting because normally we still have these high names that you expect to go through, but even on one side of the bracket, there's still PSG, there's still 100 Thieves. And on the other one with R7, PNG, and Vikings, like, it's really up in the air for which of these minor regions going to make it.
Yeah, it's going to depend on how they readjust their homework and basically coming up with the clean slate today. The past doesn't matter. You just have to show up and show big today. And I think it's time for us to check how our PKMs are doing, because
one of us is doing a lot better than the other.
I've been a big advocate for the Rel Death Fund. And look at that! Most deaths! 31.
This one,
Rel's got 7 leads. Stop the count.
We knew it was going to be a support, but I don't think we had Rel here. Skarner, most banned. I had this one as well. I think most of people did as well. Most picked Rel, though. Yeah, this one I did not anticipate.
I definitely all-in Rel, and I'm feeling pretty good about it right now, unless it starts getting banned, because it is winning a lot, too.
I mean, I think you can be sad about some of these champions. If you don't have them, don't worry. You can be happy as long as you know an Ocean Drake enjoyer. If you're one of them, then you are truly screwed, because, I mean, 4 Ocean Drakes so far. The next one...
I have this one. I feel so bad. It's such a flip. It's such a flip. I was like, I like it because I like the ocean map. I'm going to pick the Ocean Drake.
And when it spawns, it starts raining, much like the tears of people who picked that. But yeah, it's not looking good for Ocean Drake enjoyers.
But we've got, like, what, 15 games so far?
It's fine.
We have another 5 weeks of Worlds.
This is fine.
Yes,
but then it's going to grow.
You haven't taken into consideration that soon Atlas is going to arrive, and then all we will see is Cloud Drakes again.
And you guys at home, you can reset your PKMs and adapt them for the Swiss stage, of course. Let us know in chat what you guys have picked. I like this pose. It's
I mean, then they can see the graphic more.
Oh my God,
I don't care what I'm saying.
Before we jump on to the next series, we have a lot of new players here at Worlds this year. So let's hear from CarioK about what playing at Worlds means to him for the first time.
A sensação de jogar meu primeiro World está sendo incrível. É uma oportunidade que acho que todo player sonha em ter. Poder enfrentar os melhores times do mundo. Claro que a gente não passou do play ainda, mas ainda assim é desafiador para mim. Daria significado à minha carreira também, ser o primeiro time a fazer uma caminhada mais longa no Mundial. Com certeza me motivaria a continuar tentando e inspiraria outros a saber que é possível. Então, eu sei que significa muito a gente conseguir prosperar no campeonato. Eu queria agradecer a todos os fãs que estão torcendo pela gente, apoiando a gente. Saibam que a gente vai dar o nosso máximo, a gente quer muito conseguir passar de fase, a gente quer muito conseguir mostrar uma boa campanha e a gente vai jogar agora, então espero que vocês gostem do jogo, gostem do game e a gente vai dar o nosso melhor sempre, então não deixem de acreditar. Obrigado.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously difficult being a rookie at Worlds, but also it just means so much more to a guy like CarioK because he's come second so many times in the CBLOL as well. He's always been short of his dream of playing here, and with the showing he's had so far, that dream, you have a real possibility of taking it even further in the main stage.
And it's always complicated because you're a new player on the world stage. What are going to be your goals? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to show the world? And also, how are you going to handle this new pressure, new stage, new audience, and basically the biggest event of the year? And for some players, you've been dreaming about this your whole life.
Exactly. I think that's one of the hardest things about analyzing players and teams at the World Championship is because the number of external factors that can change the way you look in game are bigger at Worlds than they are at any other point in your career. So sometimes you'll have these players that are super hyped, they come into Worlds, fall flat on the face, and some people say, oh yeah, that player is just bad. But actually it was all that external new things that they were not good at adapting to in the first place. So it's just I mean, that's why it's so entertaining to watch, right?
And in that joy, it's been amazing watching paIN Gaming because we're going to talk about this, of course, for the next minutes that we have, but their showing against PSG in the first series they had was amazing. I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to be able to do today. So let's focus on the other side of the map this time. Shogun versus Titan is our Mercedes featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz.
In today's featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, CBLOL's paIN Gaming are up against the VCS's Vikings Esports. Titan proved in his last series that he is a force to be reckoned with, and although paIN felt the sting of loss, they look to regain their momentum towards the Swiss stage.
Brazil does better than the game's not coming in. Jitano going to get over the wall, but keep your eyes on the bear, getting lower, doesn't matter. Benny take it out. PNG has the objective. CarioK, no, the smite just in time. A comedy there, but Titan is clutch.
Shogun is looking to harness his hard-carrying talent, and with the rest of the Viking squad behind him, he is hoping to make a stand against Brazil's storied powerhouse.
Shogun clean flash out to safety, will at least survive for now. Mirwan going to immediately cancel the all-out to get those resistances back. Elyoya caught. Good upfront damage. Mirwan going to try to body block and evolve. The shockwave there. Elyoya taken down. VKE. Good heads up play. The rocket not going to hit either. Mirwan now going to be in trouble as well. One last shot for Shogun, but he reloads. Now going to find the captive audience as well. Good punish coming through from VKE on the bottom side.
Which team will be able to secure their first win on the world stage and make the first step towards Swiss?
A lot of interesting profile stories here at Worlds, but I feel like, I mean, when you look at Titan especially, he's familiar with the international stage. A lot to prove here today because playing is all he knows. Never made it to the main stage, so it's going to be interesting seeing what approach he's going to have and how much pressure he's going to have on his shoulders.
No, absolutely. He's been here at an international so many times. It's his 5th international, and despite all of that, he's never actually managed to make it to the main stage. They've come close before, like they've won games. It's not like it's a region that just come around and don't win. But with a performance like he's had this time around, like the Lucian Nami lane is usually not something we see go too well. And they managed to just completely shine on it. I think Kuri has looked amazing down as well in that bot lane as well. And I'm really looking at these two people to bring paIN Gaming to finally elevate that performance we see from CBLOL to the main stage.
And on the side of Shogun, we're no strangers to this player. Yeah. He left a mark every time he was on the international stage, and he knows how it feels to be on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely does. I think we can expect him to put up a good showing and hopefully not be too affected by the nerves today. And I just feel like it's so interesting the way that we end up remembering play-ins in any MSI or Worlds tournament because it's so binary in did you advance, did you not advance, and you'll often forget what happens in the individual moments. So like as you were mentioning, the CBLOL taking a game off of PSG, that's impressive. That's actually some level of success, but ultimately they lost the series, so it doesn't matter. And we were talking actually before the show. Is it actually a little bit lucky that both of these teams lost in the first round? We need to pull up the bracket to
let's
explain
take
this.
a look at the brackets because I want to look at the scenarios that they would have been facing. They need more stage time. I feel like when it comes to these teams, the more stage time they have, the better. But I feel like it's also a matter of opponents here.
Okay, so basically, right? So we're on the PNG side right now in the beginning. So basically, Jat had the argument to me. Jat, you can go ahead.
I mean, the only thing that matters is that you get here, right? So if paIN beats PSG, they would then have to beat Mad to advance, or they'd lose, which actually throws them over here, and then having to play PSG. But like the quality of opponent that they have to ultimately beat to advance is now lower because they lost this first round. That's got to be that's like a gold lining instead of a silver lining.
Note to self, lose my placement match so
No, I mean,
that I can do better
PSG
later.
would have been over there, so they would have been paIN gaming against either 100 Thieves or Soft Banks, right? So it's like, it's still easier potentially over
for
here.
the other guys.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But that
VKE.
would have thrown it into
but
even
the
more
way
chaos.
that it ended up happening, these guys got to be thrilled. This whole group, even R7, and they earned it because they beat 100 Thieves to get here. But
I love the theory, but all of this is going to come in factor with pressure today, knowing that if they lose, they're going to go home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, I don't know what to expect actually from these teams, because when you look at paIN, we said it, they were so close from defeating PSG. The first game they won it, but even from the last game, could have been a flipped either way.
Yeah, but honestly, I just want to see more out of Shogun as well, because we've seen it in the past where he was able to be a hyper carry, but I think he's been put too much in a facilitating role as well. I want to see them actually go down here and give him the carry potential. We saw Nanaue be the strong side with his Camille in the first series, but I don't want to see all this Jin and, you know, just stay in the back line. I want to see a guy that they can play through.
On the other side, with Gam being so dominant from the VCS yesterday, do you think something else can be expected from Viking today? Is that a region trend or is it just a Gam trend?
well, one interesting thing about that is that Viking played some Shyvana in their regional finals as well. It was a contested pick.
Yeah, that was more takeaway for Levi,
I
though.
love that pick from Levi, and it's
He's
something
great.
that no other region has any reps on. I'd love to see that being pulled out today.
All right, Jad, I think you prepped something for us. I think you did some homework, some research about
I did. I mean,
the forces in balance here. Oh my God,
I was reading the thread yesterday, even though 100 Thieves didn't play, and people
Jad,
just...
what is that?
So hold on, people kept bringing up Cloud9 yesterday, but the origin of this is I'm trying to see what we've learned to see who can win between Vikings and paIN Gaming, because they're the ones who played today. So we need to learn from what's happened. So Vikings got 2-0'd by the Mad Lions.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, paIN lost 1-2 to PSG.
Got it.
And then because Mad 2-1 PSG, I feel like it kind of canceled out like the sweep into the 2-1. They could still be pretty close. So to figure out who's actually further ahead, we need to go to the VCS. So Vikings is the 2 seed in the VCS. That's not the same, but it's kind of similar to GAM being the #1 seed. And we know what GAM did. They actually 2-0'd Rainbow 7 yesterday. And we know what they did. They 2-1 100 Thieves to be in that spot.
Got it.
But everyone wants to keep reminding you that Cloud9 lost to this. Cloud9 lost to this.
And by that,
3-1.
they also lost Class 7 and then VCS.
However, Cloud9 in Worlds last year beat Mad, who's at the top of the pyramid right now. So what does this really say?
You tell me.
You tell me, you ask me.
It says it's going to be really close today.
All right.
Because if we look at all the available
No,
data,
wait.
it doesn't point us in a direction. It just
But if,
is a
okay,
complete
if I can
circle.
chime in, if anything, CP LOL, they got 1 game of PSG, right? And PSG got 1 game of Mad Lions, but that means that they kind of got 1 game of a team that has same strength as these
That's
two.
what I'm saying, it
But
cancels
Vikings,
out.
Yeah, but Vikings didn't get a single game.
Yeah, but that was because Mad was better at the time.
I think we didn't have the right understanding
thought
of
about
them
this.
facing off against Mad, and they're actually stronger than they seem, because that's amazing glasses, Chad, by the way. Thank you for this. Thank you for
found
this
them in the
amazing
back.
presentation.
They look great on you.
Yeah. Either way, as memey as this is, a lot of times we know how much importance is on. Again,
No, you can't see anything.
As memey as this is,
Thanks for
let me
trying,
get
though.
serious with the
And
glasses.
to get a little more serious, it actually is an elimination game, and as we saw the bracket earlier, the opportunity that is before these teams, Vikings and paIN, is so enormous. So being able to win today and then face off against Rainbow 7 tomorrow is one of the best opportunities any of these 3 teams will ever have of moving past a play-in stage at Worlds.
I want to have your quick prediction here.
Well, I am actually going with paIN, and I think it's because that I just feel like their bot lane got more aggression through it. I think they're more proactive with their plays, where Vikings, they kind of sat a bit stale back, and if they don't improve that, I think they're going to fall behind.
I'm thinking Vikings 2-1, but I don't know.
Could go either way. Hopefully, teams can prepare today in this elimination match. So let's get straight into it.
그래서 이제 첫 경기 때 너무 이제 말도 없고 실수가 너무 많았어가지고.
Normally after a loss, I beat myself down. I need to make sure that I'm focusing on the things I need to get better on. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
분한 마음도 있지만 다음 경기가 아직 남아있기 때문에 그 경기 생각하면서 이제 다시 리마인드 이제 지나간 거에 아쉬워하지 않고 이제 아직 경기가 또 남아있기 때문에 그 경기 생각하면서 이제
이게 저희 마지막 경기가 아니니까 걱정 안 하셔도 될 것 같습니다.
I want to make the people around me proud, and I will do that against SHG.
리버 선수, 피드 선수 저희 모두 먼 길 왔는데 재미있게 경기하고 갑시다.
É sempre muito ruim perder, né? Acho que na carreira de competidor isso é a parte mais difícil e é algo que a gente tem que conviver. A maioria dos competidores mais perdem do que ganham, mas a gente sempre tenta tirar algum aprendizado. Sabe que quando a gente ganha tudo vale a pena, então eu tento sempre pensar que eu posso aprender algo mesmo com as derrotas e isso me ajudar a ganhar o próximo jogo, o próximo campeonato. Então essa é a minha mentalidade.
Đây là trận đấu sinh tử của tụi em nên là tụi em sẽ cố gắng hết sức để giành chiến thắng. Hai team tụi em thì đều có một mạng nhưng mà có lẽ tụi em sẽ giữ được mạng này để đi tiếp vào vòng sau.
Com certeza a gente passou por muita coisa, então a gente criou um laço muito forte. Acho que vai além de ser só um time, acho que a gente vai levar essa amizade pra vida toda. E com certeza o apoio um dos outros foi o que manteve a gente de pé.
Mình sẽ làm tất cả mọi thứ để mang vinh quang về đến cho VCS.
Para os nossos fãs do Brasil, a gente sabe que a gente não está carregando só o nosso sonho, mas o sonho de vocês também. E a gente vai dar o nosso sangue, vai fazer o nosso melhor para a gente conseguir realizar isso.
Day, a day that has led to a tournament life end for one of these teams. VKE versus paIN Gaming and CBLOL versus the VCS second seed. My name's Sterex, I'm joined by Dag to take you through today, which is a sad day for many, but a day of enthusiasm for others.
Yeah, a day of trepidation. An opportunity to put yourself up against R7 here with a win for either of these squads.
That's right.
Or a road back to the airport and a trip home. Both these squads wanting desperately to show up. Vikings trying to prove that they can join their brethren in that main stage event, whereas paIN Gaming wanting to show that forever the CB law must be respected on an international stage.
I mean, again, they did some damage against PSG. They were talking about it on the desk. That game one was electric. There was a lot of blood. There was a lot of speed into the play of this CB LOL team, which I know from historics, a lot of people didn't expect them to be running out the gate in some of those games. But they did, and they caught PSG by surprise. And a lot of people are saying, hey, maybe PNG are a lot better than what we gave them credit for.
But in the same vein, Vikings kind of got caught off guard by MDK in those lane swaps, right?
Point.
So it felt like we didn't really get to see the full wrath of the Vikings.
Yeah.
And especially when this was the squad that was favored coming into their finals.
Some people said they were better than GAN,
exactly.
Even coming into Worlds even after the finals.
I want to see them now play their game. I want to see them, like, screw lane swaps, screw all this malarkey. Let's just get into some classic League of Legends. You can see SOFM there standing behind his team. He would love for this squad to be able to make it.
He knows weird League of Legends.
Exactly,
SOFM is the king of dynamic jungling, and hopefully he can impact that and send that over to, again, Gury, who we want to see a lot more from. As you said, caught off guard. I love it, Dak. They're coming into this day 3 when there's so much on the line. We have to see how they prep for PNG as we go into game 1. Pick ban PNG on the blue, VKE on red, Ash, Syndra, both in respect taken away.
Yeah, I think Vi, another pick that we oftentimes see banned away on that red side, but I will be curious to see how the adaptations have come through for both these squads as we start to continue forward throughout this. Maokai banned every game against paIN Gaming. You see the Jax was banned consistently away from Nanaue as well, one of his big picks. Will that be respected as we come into game number 1?
I just love that the second ban is towards Kati as well. You know, coming into the tournament, I thought Kati has a really good meta. Syndra, Ori, Ryze, those are his historics most played. And 2 have already been taken off, opening up this draft as the first 2 bans.
Yeah, Syndra, Ori, I mean, strong, staple, easy mid laners.
Also true.
Also one that potentially sets up for dyNquedo to go back towards something like Leona that we saw him play previously. But in my eyes are fully on Cheaton on that bottom side. He looked insane over the course of several of his games. Really is a force to be reckoned with, even when he came into the roster. This was the guy adding with Kuri that they expected to push this team forward as the MSI representative for the CB LoL. Weren't quite able to make it happen at that stage, but now representing the CB LoL on this world stage, he would love to be able to step up for his region once more.
There's so many fun stories. We're going to yap your ears off at home and let you know. I mean, again, the history's there. Now, Jax, Yone, both again, strong solo lane bans. Skarner left open for once and straight away slammed by PNG.
Yeah, Skarner is incredibly strong at the moment. He's very good as a front line. He's able to set up a lot of plays. Great if you try and have these dive compositions as well, because he can buy so much space for your backline. So I think he's just by far and away the strongest jungler, at least that we're seeing in play-ins. We'll have to see if that continues towards the main stage. This is interesting though, because we did see R7 kind of falling back towards this with Udyr going towards the brand. Did not work out for them game number 1. So I'm kind of surprised that we're getting both these picks this early, because this is not the priority that I would have put into this.
Remember, Udyr picked this up, or Udyr, excuse me, Udyr picked this up before, and we were like, well, Brand doesn't feel as quick as clearing. I know it's something you raised, Dagda, on broadcast, but with the misfortune as well, 2 champions that have been gutted a little bit, but still see their passage of play. Now for the other side, PNG, a strong 2v2 lane. When you brought in Cheaton and Kuri for this year, maybe they look to dominate bot here and put their stars back up.
Do you end up just immediately taking the rel now for Kuri to say, hey, we want this incredibly strong bot lane that we can look to play around, set up, and then try and push something like an Alistar pick on the other side, or something that at least try and play into that rel? Or what is going to be the pickup here for Kuri? I think if you're going to pick Kalista, you need to have a strong engaged support beside her, but we'll have to see. Like, there are still options available. You just be worried about, you know, twice the bans going in on the opposite side and then them taking one. But Neeko for dyNquedo.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, first time we've seen this in the tournament. I'm just glancing my eyes.
Yeah, first time.
And this is still technically a triple flex, because it can go top into things like Renekton. It's been seen mid. It can also go support and sync up with the Kalista. While Leona comes on the other side, we've got a big question to rate that PNG can play around with this third pick on blue side and keep VKE, excuse me, guessing a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but the reason we saw Neeko kind of drift away from that mid lane champion pool was just because she wasn't the strongest when it came to getting pushed and then being able to set up in that regard. Maybe with the changes we see coming in, she started to come back in a little bit stronger, but this to me could also be the triple flex. But into Leona, I also don't think it's amazing.
Good point.
Unless Curry's cooking something.
Well, I like the word cooking, Dagda, and again, if you take the eye away from pain, you get pan, and pans are good for cooking with. Now, Aurora, taken away. No, I'm not letting you respond to that. Renekton's the ban on the other side, so maybe it's not going to be into top after all.
So I'm just having a quick look at dyNquedo's match history. He has not been playing the Neeko, so I'd be very surprised if it's going towards him. Could end up being in that support role, as we're saying, but we'll have to figure it out. As I say, Renekton, Aurora, going to be taken off the board as well. This is basically saying to me that Neeko is going bot side, because Neeko's actually a pretty good matchup into the Renekton.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's so annoying.
So I think what we're looking at is a potential K'Sante coming through for one of these squads, especially with the Gnar and the Renekton coming through. Could be going towards Nanaue in that top side if they really want to, but I think basically that's what we're trying to set up here, is some sort of blind in that regard.
I mean, Wizer so far, it's been the Jax, the Rumble, the Gnar so far in this tournament, but you just can't go past the K'Sante. Another nice hover. They ban it instead. So variables thrown up into the top lane as Nanaue doesn't have that soft top lane to rest on here. We have seen this from the PCS region. but the Udyr getting locked in here again.
Yeah, it looks like the preference is on getting Kati a guaranteed good matchup in the mid lane. They're unsure exactly as to where that Neeko is in the same vein we are.
Yep.
So just saying, look, we don't want to full commit to a Neeko counter until we figure out exactly where this pick is going. Udyr, just strong blind, you're not really going to have too many issues with it. So regardless of what ends up happening, you should be okay. And even the fact that you have the reduction on the the reduction on the CC from the E could work out, but Rumble going to be the case. So looks like it may be just an all-out party on the Wombo combo here for paIN Gaming.
Nice pun. Casante's not in the game. Otherwise, Dagda, that would have been a 10 out of 10 for me. At the very least, you're right. It's the all-in committal. We see the Tristana locked in again. The Neeko, as you confirmed earlier on, Dags, is going to be down on the bottom side in the 2v2. Again, seeing Tristana in this tournament, a little bit surprising. No way. After everything, are we just going to get Tristana Corky? We've done a full circle, and you'd hope that Kati has a little bit more. Now, the Smolder hasn't been seen as much in this tournament so far, but it is still something people say is strong.
Yeah, I think it's something because it didn't really get hit by a lot of the system changes that we saw for other champions, right? So it will be the Smolder, and I do like this. Tristana got hit by the fleet footwork, so she isn't as controlling in that mid lane. Whereas for Smolder, he's kind of just fine to farm it on out. He's going to end up going for Triforce. A lot of his, like, Blade of the Rune King didn't get hit, which did for Tristana. Like, these items that the Tristana build aren't the same for Smolder. So in this position, I think you're in a relatively good spot. The only thing that does concern me is, you know, lack of control with the MF, Brand not looking as strong as he is, and the pure wombo that is on paIN Gaming side. If Vikings Esports mess up even a little bit, it's lights out for them.
It's the thing that Rumble's always good at punishing, isn't it? He can still snowball, he can still skirmish so early on with that equalizer. I'm getting excited, Dagda, because we have a change about the bot side as well. Remembering how Chitan and Kuri, you were mentioning the story coming in. This was not I would say a risk when he has so much tenure behind him, but again, a change of style here for paIN to try and make this moment, and made it they have now. They have to put up or shut up, as this is their last chance.
Yeah, Chitan and Gury were the pickup, like the best bot lane in the CB LoL, and two guys that could pop the hell off. So adding them to this lineup kind of felt like the last missing piece, but didn't come together for MSI. But now on the world stage, with a bot lane that is very, very volatile, I'm expecting a huge amount of pressure to come down from CarioK just to try and get this Kalista ahead and let CarioK then help out in carrying this game. Even when you look at the combo between like Neeko getting tossed in with a Kalista, or even Pop Blossom into getting pulled to safety, this is where a lot of this paIN Gaming game plan is coming from.
Well, we're here. It's elimination day. One best of 3 left in one of these teams for VKE. Remember, a lot of people said they've got 3 of the best players in the VCS right now. Kati, Shogun, Biet. They've been players you've seen on the stage before, but the fact they're on a new roster, people thought, okay, the dynamic is going to be enough to get them as first seed, but GAM held merit. They smashed them in finals. They beat them only just 3-2 in the upper brackets as well. VKE had to claw tooth and nail to get here. As you can see, global power rankings powered by AWS. I'm sure VKE would have been much higher on the scale, but they're close to PNG, paIN Gaming, who haven't been to an international in so long, since 2021 MSI Dagda. They haven't been at Worlds for 9 years. 2015 Worlds was the last time we saw paIN on the big stage.
Yeah, and I think a huge amount of that was the tossing and turving, as we talked about with the roster, the fact that you had like even dyNquedo swapping out for TinOwns and then trying to find his success on this roster as TinOwns left him. They basically swapped between Loud and paIN Gaming as well, so getting dyNquedo in here, beating TinOwns finally to get his first one, but Shogun and BA trying to get in onto Wizer here.
If you can't beat him, join him, Dagda. Okay, let's go for a lane swap and see how we can run it here with Shogun and BA. As this star 80 carry on the top side of the map looks to force out, get a bit of information on blue buff. On response, you see Kuri just runs into blue, but Gury has himself a smite, gets it, and Nanaue is just going to try and help him push through this. As again, our star 80 carries in our Mercedes-Benz featured matchup. Running into this game 1.
Feels a little bit sad that our Mercedes-Benz featured matchup are now on opposite sides of the ring. But this is definitely the 2 to watch. I think when we looked towards Chitan, he was fantastic on things like the Lucian in his series. It was just unfortunate that they weren't quite able to get themselves up and running into some of these early skirmishes, but he was a force to be reckoned with Kuri. And on the upside, Shogun and BA had a phenomenal time, even getting some 2v2 kills in that bottom lane. So I was hoping we'd get these two matching up against each other, but not going to be the case thus far.
And I know a lot of lane swaps these days are about more than just avoiding the 2v2, right? About influencing mid, impacting what happens in top lane in the 1v1. This one feels like a bit more old school, where for paIN Gaming, they're not only happy to get plates here, but VKE are like, we don't want to touch this Kalista Neeko, considering how potent this 2v2 is in its inherent form.
I think the only sad part is that for Gury, because you end up clearing from your bot up to top to then meet with the split map, you don't actually get your Gromp on the bottom side, whereas when you look at CarioK now, he gets to clear his entire bot side, can even move in onto the opposite, steal away that Gromp as well, and just end up with a camp advantage if he's able to spot it out. At the moment, several members going up towards this top side, just trying to see if they can get a plate, but that was kind of the nerf that came through. You will just continuously take very quick plates on this bottom side. And now we're starting to see BA moving down here, trying to defend a potential jungle invade, but I think he just got spotted by one of the Kalista ghosts there as well.
And Gury's going to get spotted again as Wizer moves up. Remember, he got level 2 off the mid wave, so even though the combo comes through, you can see that Wizer doesn't really care too much. Gury moves back here with double buffs and gets forced away while the support roam from BA might find Gury, but he doesn't care either. Tangle Barbs, max range, dyNquedo will just continue farming away.
Yeah, you just got to be careful where Gury is, because see, he's about to finish up here, so BA going to try and wrap through onto this mid lane, catch people out, but I think the respect is coming through from paIN Gaming on the mid wave.
Well, as Wizer moves up, CS going to start brewing for top lane. As you look at bot and you see that only one plate for all that trading as well. I'm just trying to look towards top. Still 5 there as Shogun versus Chitan. Pops off a little bit. Chitan has a level lead thanks to the fact he has now been solo farming for a little bit.
Can also chase them down. Look at where paIN Gaming are.
The boys, there's the flash. You're right, Dagger. It's matched by Shogun, but in for a penny, in for a pound. Shogun close to dropping to the ground. The rock out of range. A Zenith Blade is good as well as Gury. Looks for the passive. Set ablaze is the jungler of PNG, but in pain, no. Running away, yes. Gury tangle barred. Gury almost in. Close. A blossom down as well as he escapes. That was so close, but no one dies.
I thought BA was going to go in and just get a triple kill. Everyone is so low on paIN Gaming, but my word, that was close. The barrier clutch from Shogun, even a potential double up here, could take down someone here on this health, even Kuri, but not going to be able to connect. paIN Gaming want to try and clear it this wave. You could even look at where dyNquedo was. He was considering a roam down to this bottom side.
Now, Dagger, what I've learned is Kuri versus Gury is going to be a lot harder than I initially thought. But the second part is that all the flashes were burnt in that trade too. The only one left up is Gury on that brown jungle. So small advantage here, if you want to call it that, as PNG still haven't backed away in this bottom side, all things considered, while Shogun has done exactly that.
I think that makes things significantly more interesting now for a potential group fight, because not having those summoner spells available, Gury at least still has his, but if you're looking at CarioK potentially coming in from the flank, Wizer hitting that level 6, if you're Shogun, you are now the target, and there's a lot that could be coming your direction as well. So I think in this case, the Vikings maybe want to take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit and try and play for a dragon trade on those grubs instead.
Well, the slower the game goes, the more the Smolder will be happy, I guess, as well. As you said, grub's a priority, 15 seconds until they spawn. Wizer's got teleport, so he might be teleporting up here to react to this bounce wave. Remember that Nanaue has his available while Gury starts roaming top himself.
Gury is a minion, though. Is Nanaue spotting this? He doesn't spot us.
Not. Tangle Barbs and CarioK is here. What do you say in response? Nanaue's running for his life. Ghost is there, and the power of Udyr as the spear is not mortal enough on the damage.
Still, though, you've got Gury and start trying to get one of these grubs just as a sneak away, but paIN Gaming starting to come across now. This is going to be careful. dyNquedo's about to clear the wave and mid, and he's level 6, but you got one Gury. Just be happy that you got that.
He's going to run out of rage anyway, rather from the minions to temper down, and as it resets, PNG standing their ground. We're looking for those rotations now. Shogun's moving on up, and that misfortune is going to bring a small dragon with him as well. So Gury's like, I can start this again. Wow. And Brand is just so good at clearing this. Quick, smart.
Yeah, the TP from Nanaue back up into that top lane, and then the roam from Shogun made that a little bit dicey, but you can still see the damage is done right when you look at the CS. Wizer, 34. When you look across the Vikings, not looking so hot for Nanaue. So that's kind of the trade-off that you get in this situation where you're trying to move him around as much as possible to keep the Void Grubs there. It's only a 2-for-1 at the end of the day, so both squads can still get that buff.
Dragon's still sitting there and waiting up, and our Ocean fans that were watching our Analyst Death segment probably upset it's not going to be a solve, but at least they get one for the board. But for now, a ward is dropped by Gury. They know what's going on here, so Dragon sits there and waits.
And that's where I think the focus is. Because you only have the MF down here, Wizer gets to create this slow push in the bottom side. He's going to be fine. He resets, he moves back up top. You've got Chitan and Kuri who are now able to move into that bot side and should be able to get push as well. And you've still got that teleport available for Wizer, but they look like they want to try and cheat this, just try and look for the play off the back of it. But yeah, I think Wizer just going to use that teleport advantage now to help paIN Gaming set up this dragon, then reset himself and catch that wave in top.
Also with the fact that dyNquedo goes back and gets Retrix, maybe a bit more damage as well than they bargained for. So PNG start, take successfully, and all that's going to cost is a plate in the top side. Well, Gury is on a ward.
Yeah, I think Wizer on a ward as well is the issue, because it means that you're able to keep pushing in top.
Oh, he tried to predict that he's walking down. Gury, yeah, a mode on him. Fair call.
It's crazy. I didn't know Wizer was a C.S. Lewis fan.
I laughed at it, but I'm not sure I get it. I know the line, The Witch of the Wardrobe. What else?
Yeah, it's fine.
You just laugh and you smile and wave. Okay.
But yeah, I think the big one here is the fact that you now invested that TP late to get to the play, and you lost the plates on top. I actually kind of like half favor Vikings in the trade. And one Ocean Dragon not going to be the end of the day, but some extra gold onto the Udyr, the quicker setup for things like this Negatron cloak now, make this lane matchup incredibly easy for Nanaue, where he gets to keep pushing the wave. And this is why we originally saw this Udyr come out as a big...
Mom?
He's fine.
To the side, yep. Magician's nephew is question mark I have for you there. No, not hitting it. I'll try again a little bit later.
It was just Narnia, mate.
Okay. The basic one. I tried to read into it too much.
But yeah, I think the fact that now... So Rumble always struggled into the Udyr matchup, is why we saw him come out. The Negatron cloak was kind of the key break point for a lot of that matchup. It's why we'd even look at like an early no magic, where you try and push and crash third wave into cheat fourth and then get your no magic on the reset. But Nanaue sets up fine now, so Wizer not going to push in top side. dyNquedo struggling a little bit against the Smolder in the mid now, and we've seen that bot side is very vulnerable. So I think now Vikings should be able to play off these top wave scenarios and make the game a little bit easier for themselves.
Especially since, as you mentioned, dyNquedo, I mean, a minute till those grubs actually spawn, and with that reset cancel, he's got to sit here for the wave. We'll have to back away, and we look at top again onto the Udyr. Will he be able to run for his life? No Ghost of Elwar, but an Impale this time says you're going nowhere. First blood over to paIN is great for Wizer.
Nice, the job. As you just said, the struggle in this matchup was real for Rumble. Getting something back from him is going to be great. Might even be able to play it for himself, because look where Shogun is. They're reset, and moving him up towards this top half of the map as well. But I think...
Center plate. Oh, no. Tangle Bubs. He's out. Buffett.
But yeah, I think at this position, Vikings are actually in a better spot now to look for a potential 5-grub take. You see Gury even stealing away a camp. Shogun now going to push out this wave. Doesn't have the ult available. Looks like he used that on the bot wave. So maybe Vikings are a little nervous just with the lack of ultimates.
Maybe. It's good ward there, spotting that everyone from paIN are moving into position now. I feel like the paIN fans are out in force here today as well. Support could not be louder as they move into position. Now the Rumble moving up. Dagda already mentioned to you all at home that Nanaue is bot committing for the plate here, while VKE are getting threatened off a bit. What do we have down?
Vikings are just trying to buy time here. Not only are you getting that plate on the bottom side, but you're buying time for Shogun's ultimate to come back up.
True.
Level 6 just hit for BA off the back of that mid wave as well. So if they can take this slow, they are winning out on the map state right now. And dyNquedo has the TP available, so not quite available anyway. So taking this slow for Vikings works out in their favor.
I want to raise, again, not only just the TP, but waiting for the mum ult that has now come up as well. And there's small things that for VKE, Dagda hit the nail when slow pace is there. It works out well. Now CarioK is going to start this, and he's got good AoE, but you can see movement is coming in from VKE. I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think.
Now, ultimate is now up and available for Shogun. No TP for Nanaue, though, so it's going to be at least a 4v4 potential for dyNquedo to come through as well, but I think they're gone. They're a little bit slow. Maybe try to catch Wizer as they move across, but Gury's now spotted.
We just highlighted the pace being good, but too slow is definitely real, as 3 grubs matched out, 4 for paIN in the end, because remember they got 1 before, so that's a big take right under the nose of VKE, who we thought, playing this so well.
I think it was just trying to buy time for a lot of these summoner spells and ults to come back off cooldown, but unfortunately they were just that little bit too late and weren't in a position to really contest. So I think there was a world where we could have saw Gury trying potentially move down to make a play on towards dyNquedo, who's left on the bot side, but they end up trying to match and it just doesn't work out in their favor.
20 CS lead for top, you take stock. For paIN getting that relatively moderate-sized win, They're also on the verge of getting their first items, maybe before the dragon spawns. dyNquedo also keeping those TPs for people like dyNquedo, who just picked up himself a Kraken Slayer. It's very good news if this fight takes hold.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Cheetan talked to Sheep Esports, and he was saying, look, one of the big things that paIN Gaming wanted to focus on was this objective control, and you can see it now, right? The early Void Grubs takes, the Dragon takes, and now the nice reset into the potential Dragon. paIN Gaming definitely learning from what happened against PSG Talon and trying to now fight back against Vikings.
Even the small trades brew attention. I love it. It's great to see, you know, people from all cultures coming to the Berlin studio, and it's been exciting, especially when you hear the might of the Brazil fans, especially watching back finals as well. Now, into the moment itself, Cheetan is going to get this wave pushed. You look towards Dragon. Second Dragon it would be for paIN as well, as VKE moved into position, and now these supports have their ultimates, where in previous fights they were so far behind in experience, they couldn't contribute theirs.
paIN Gaming don't really have control of the map right now, though. Push on boss coming through for Vikings, which is why they're operating in River with such confidence. Cheetan forced to back away. Keep your eyes on CarioK. What can he do here if Gury steps forward?
All it takes is a Pop Blossom to disguise yourself as a minion, a ward even. And Kuri has many different angles of attack. The pings are going down, bot is just being matched for now, and mid continuously is Cheetan just pulling it up as top laners fight it out, or rather solo laners do for the time being. dyNquedo has that TP to move down, but Nanaue does now too.
A lot of still control here for Vikings, though. Wizer not really able to push in against Shogun. Nanaue,
good damage.
Oof, taking a lot of damage, and now you're in a difficult spot here, because what do you do as Nanaue? Do you TP back top to try and protect your top lane turret against this Tristana, or do you have to try and TP into the fight? So I think this is why, again, paIN Gaming taking a second to get waves in order. Yeah, Nanaue, you can't stick around it. This tower's going to fall. He needs some sort of help. You look at where BA is. He's late on the map. So Vikings are going to give Dragon and potentially a ton of damage on this top tower.
I mean, look at this. dyNquedo gets 2 on the turret. Then he Kraken Slayers the Udyr as well, getting extra damage. Nanaue, as you said, has to be so damn careful. Next wave coming through, and it might spawns, of course, because they've got 4.
And this is one of the big struggles we saw from Vikings, both against MDK and also the reason that they end up falling down to GAM Esports. Just the missed macro, the opportunities to contest at objectives, and paIN Gaming are doing a great job of pulling them around the map, stretching them thin, and just finding those little bits of armor that they can poke themselves through.
I love the mention again, yeah. You kind of spread thin and you're like, what do we do? Do we answer this? Do we commit to the play? Like, that kind of decision making is what makes a next level team. I think GAM are very good at that actually as well. Where they'll just sometimes overcommit, but you're like, hey, at least they're picking one side. But for now, as you see the MasterCard lane economy snapshot, I mean, top lane is the big issue here. Wizer level 11 with an equalizer, and CarioK is nearby.
Nanaue, how are you going to get out of this one? CarioK could slam against the wall. That's the TP.
They're all full committing, aren't they? But the wall slam ain't there. The Impaler there. Kari is going to have to make it a little bit better as a full commit at least. Cleans up the play. There's faith in dyNquedo, at least, to make that trade.
Look, Nanaue may have died, but he made paIN Gaming look like fools before he went down. That was some very fancy footwork, but a nice call here from paIN Gaming. They're like, look, Rift Herald's up, but we can get bot tower here. Let's just try and get as fed as all hell dyNquedo, and then try and play through him on side lanes, because it's working out so well at the moment. But, I mean, look again. We're not even getting any sort of pressure on the cross map from Vikings. Yes, they got top tower, but no fallback to Rift Herald. Instead, they're so worried about a potential tier 2 take on the bottom half of the map with all those paIN Gaming members that they're now left, and paIN had a ward in the pit, so they know Rift Herald isn't taken, and they're just streamlining towards it.
So now my wonder is, do VKE go reset, we get the wave push out, and then head towards it themselves? They've got all ultis available. dyNquedo says, nah.
It's no push in mid. Look at where Gury is as well. Like, they can try and contest this, but they're going to be very late. And even with the push on top, like, that could even just be another terror take. Yeah, they're sending dyNquedo up there. The map play is far superior from paIN Gaming right now.
Nanaue is not going to get the push in bot. Instead, after the wave, he's looking for a TP angle, it seems, as he backs off. And dyNquedo mentioned it perfectly. Top turret's going to be taken down. Again, the map play for paIN Gaming works out well, as forcing VKE away from this Herald ever so slowly gives them time to bring in this Tristana into the fray.
And Kuri has that flash available, so could always look for some sort of play or even be sent in here with Cheetan. So he's now playing, pretending to be the Rumble, seeing if he can put pressure onto folks.
And dyNquedo, it's also given time for CarioK to get his ult back up and available too. Impale is there, Herald's going to drop on down, Nanaue is going to trade this for the bottom side turret, but when mid feels so important in opening up this game, Herald in the back pocket seems like a good task.
Plus, they've just traded top tower as well, so it's a tower for tower in the extended play. but you get that Rift Herald and the opportunity now to maybe pick Kati as well.
Not seen
So
yet,
let's
not
flash.
seen. Here comes the Skarner, but flash away, okay. dyNquedo just jumps on in and Impale on the response. He wasn't expecting that one as the Dragon calls in Mum. There's minor healing, but is it enough? dyNquedo's damage, huge! CarioK sacrifices his own life, but it's a shutdown onto Kati, which I didn't even know existed at those numbers. Big for the mid laner of paIN.
Yeah, the fact that dyNquedo is as large as he is right now is going to be a bit of an issue. But, I mean, you look at the farming numbers there for Kati as well. He's no shrug, so you can see the turnaround play. Like, he has a 300 gold lead over dyNquedo, just the fact that he's been able to pick up a ton of these waves. And this Smolder, sitting on 160 stacks, starting to get places.
He is indeed. We'll look at the replay here after the trade, because this took a lot of commitment here from paIN Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, good flash from Kati, and then CarioK just able to turn around with the flash Impale. I thought dyNquedo might jump forward into the buster shot to try and get Kati even further away from the tower, but didn't want to end up underneath tower range, especially as you see, they don't know where BA is or where the Udyr is either, so they're just going to wait. But it does mean that then CarioK takes that step too far. Kati, happy that he gets that turnaround kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Trinity Force was picked up before, but now with the full stacks here, I think from recent plays and also heading towards that second item himself. The Smolder, as you said, is going to be an issue. I will say dyNquedo, he has now just picked up the Nanaue Quickblade, so 2 item on Tristana, a lot of attack speed and a lot of good trading in this build, despite the fact he was 700 gold behind after the early laning phase.
Yeah, I think, though, this is where we need to see something get unleashed for VKE, because when you're looking at the map state, you've actually already got Wizer, who's pushing in on the bottom side of the map. dyNquedo has a ton of control here, and you're looking at the Dragon that's about to come up in just a minute's time as well. So when you've already got mid-push too, it becomes an easy manner for you to just take over. You just use the Rift Herald as you get Nanaue and Kati trying to catch these side waves, crack up mid-turret, put more pressure on towards Vikings, and you can always fall back to Dragon as an afterthought.
Again, as Wizer already looks for that angle nice and early. Electro Harpoon just lets VKE know he's there. Shitana's going to look for this mid-push once again. And as they look for the push is set in the pudding, as PNG for this third Dragon will be huge for the game. 3 seconds it spawns, and here we go as PNG hold control of River again.
Yeah, dyNquedo gone for the reset. To just be able to pick up his boots and maybe a BF sword off the back of where he's been playing. So, I know, just a long sword. So, he's going to be trying to TP back out onto the map, I believe, now for this. But you've got numbers advantage here. Nanaue still pushing in the top side. He'll have to TP into this.
Kati has picked up the mirror mana from the last back. VKE start this Dragon off. And Gury's going to burn this down quite literally as Nanaue is making the TP play. He comes from mid to look to run down as the Herald is there. The Pop Blossom from Kuri layers them down. It's a bullet time to end worlds, though. As Nanaue comes from the backside, cleans up one, now another. The damage was done by the VKE backline, but the Udyr's ready to spike it down. dyNquedo gets spaced out, but 4 kills, and what looked beautiful from Kuri was set on its head thanks to Shogun.
Yesterday was Gam time. Today is bullet time for Viking time. An incredible turnaround from Shogun. Sets up beautifully for the Dragon take and so much more for Vikings.
Even after getting nerfed, even after BT got nerfed and people like Misfortune's out, it amazes me some of the plays we've seen so far, this being the biggest one as we watch this set up again.
But it's paIN Gaming have given so much space over the Vikings, right? They're the ones that are actually able to control where they go. Kuri gets a great ultimate, but watch Shogun's flash into them positioning for a perfect bullet time. The lockdown onto Wizer and also Kuri, and Nanaue just runs past dyNquedo to set up one as Cheaton's caught in the pit with nowhere to go.
dyNquedo, the only one to survive after that. Dragon stacking has been denied. There was no steal even to speak of. A 3k gold lead all of a sudden blooms out of thin air. And that is almost 4.5k damage worth of bullet time. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That explains the fight.
And this is why you can never count Vikings out. Just one team fight can always bring them back in. And this is the second paIN Gaming slip up just a little bit on the macro. Vikings just come so quickly back in, but we'll have to wait and see how they want to try and play this one out. Push at the moment still for Kati. Just desperately trying to get this Smolder up onto that 225 stacks.
Yep.
But Nanaue has kind of forgone the bot lane, trying to see if he can sneak in for whoever's going to catch that mid wave that Shogun's pushing in.
For a pick, Solar Flare stops it though. Kuri was slowed down. There's Blaze again. Alight is Impale, doesn't connect. The second time we've seen in this game. Yeah, in the backline, set up for the ball. Kuri's caught. He has to flash away. That's CarioK, who's now between a rock, a wall, and some kind of scorpion tail. Where can he go? Nowhere. Against the wall apparently is enough, but Kati flies over, takes a free stack, and VKE finds it again.
It's a disaster for paIN Gaming. They get caught in their own jungle. Wizer tried to reset in time to pick up his Riftmaker before TPing in, but he TP'd so far away that it's still just a 4 versus 5 into a 3 versus 5, and now a potential Baron for Vikings.
Vikings Esports now set up in front of the Baron. The equalizer, a good turnabout, maybe stops it. Wizer's looking to keep it going as dyNquedo gets one. Okay, that's enough. PNG can't take this for themselves, though. No jungler, no smite.
There's a wave in mid lane for paIN Gaming as well, so that force off of Baron might turn into a pretty nice takeaway from them as well. Vikings just didn't want to commit to the turnaround, and paIN Gaming punish.
It feels like it's dyNquedo versus VKE right now. This Kalista from Titan, we've seen some moments, but like, Dagda, let's be real, that hasn't been his pop-off performance that we were hoping. We watched this again. This was pop-off from VKE to punish hard.
But again, like, look, there's the TP on the top side of the map here, just on to the back line to try and spot out. So this is not an even fight at all. Immediately, the Neeko gets picked off. CarioK is in complete, like, no man's land, and then the Rumble isn't involved in the fight either. So you burnt a lot to try and get that play, but at least you still get, you know, it was a 2 kills in the end of the day.
Yep.
You get 1 kill back, you deny Baron, and you get mid-tower. So it's not the worst for paIN Gaming. It's just the fact that that went so awry from the get-go.
And again, I still feel like there's a big fight coming too, because 2-item Kalista there. I talked about it before the replay. Titan hasn't really popped up in this game much, right? It's been dyNquedo who has been the 4-0 Tristana, the almost 3-item Tristana that has been cleaning up the back of these fights, trying to get some of these trades.
Yeah, I mean, this game is always difficult for a Kalista against the bullet time, the ultimate from the brand as well. And now main a lot more difficulty with Max away.
Good timing, Dagda. Very good timing. Clean's going to be burned from Titan, and VKE are positioning to threaten this Baron again. But remember, Dragon is up in 50 seconds. That would be the third for paIN Gaming. So when we started this game, we're talking about the stacking, how they're playing the map. If they can move themselves closer to Soul Point, then there is also playing on their terms of the game that you have to consider.
Yeah, but the momentum shift in hysterics. This is Vikings starting to take control of this game.
Yeah, right.
Yes, they are trying to get dyNquedo into a side lane to answer for it, but he's still behind in goal to Kati. Like, Kati's been doing a great job of catching waves, getting the farm when he needs to, and then transitioning that into kills in these fights. And when you've already just hit the 225 immediately for Kati, and you're about to finish off the rapid fire cannon, he's going to be firing on all cylinders. I imagine, I thought they would try and give this wave to Kati, may still do, so he can pick up rapid fire on the way back, but he has to be so close to that item now.
I hate this champion. Oh man, that clear. Yeah, it's showing you. I mean, with the rapid fire cannon and TP, you're right, he can just pop on in whenever he wants, as Kati for now sits on the edge, because you can see paIN Gaming start this off first. Nanaue is walking in, but it's already gone. Nice movement from paIN. They find it as Pierre flashes in, though. There's a bullet time, but it's not as good as the last ones. CarioK gets Nanaue as the pop blossom finds the other two. VKE is separated. It doesn't matter if the Smolder has an execute. He's dead. On the back end, Gury sent away, Wizer flashes into play, and now Shogun can't stay. VKE were torn apart limb from limb from limb, and paIN Gaming just said, yep, we'll take that.
The Vikings went in on 2 different ships, one blue west, one blue east, and one blue completely out of this world. It was just not the way it was supposed to go. paIN Gaming immediately catch Kati, turn that around. They got the dragon to boot, and now Gury hoping he can get to the pit, but it's going to be gone before he gets there.
It's going to have to be a miracle, you're right. Put some faster boots on. There's no way. Baron over to paIN Gaming. Doesn't that just sell you, Dagda? VKE, they had tempo, they had everything going for them. All of a sudden it flips. The game ain't over till it's over.
They had too much confidence. Kati going in with the flap, hoping that he'd be able to turn this fight around, but instead, look how quickly they get caught. Like, BA immediately goes onto Titan, but the flash away at the last second means that you don't get the lockdown. Kati's now in a horrible position, and the Kuri with a great flash onto him.
Wow.
Everyone on paIN Gaming turn onto him, and watch Wizer on the top of your screen. He's buying so much space from Shogun and Gury. He doesn't have to get the damage down, just needs to keep them out of the fight, and eventually they're able to flash forward as reinforcements come through, and they'll get Nanaue off the back of us.
Because Wizer was the person earlier on as, yeah, the audience back home absolutely loving it. And PNG, let's come back to it. Mid lane was already ahead, 3 items Tristana, but they've got Baron now as well. They're on Soul Point. The game swings a second time. And what a story for the CB LOL. As VKE now trying to defend their inner turret as CarioK looks for an angle to see if he catches anyone off guard.
dyNquedo still pushing in that mid lane, trying to set up a 1-4 here, but Vikings, they've got a lot of wave clear on this bottom side, so Shogun now going to get the reinforcements from BA, but still have to be careful as dyNquedo. You don't want to take a step too far forward. I think it's just trying to see if they can buy a window of opportunity to collapse onto the spot side.
All members congressing. The next wave, Kuri's trying to fake it out. Do they know it's him? No, Pop Blossom in, it's good enough, and he gets drawn back. Beautiful engage, and an Impale to follow through, but they need the damage. VKE are buying time, and the bullet time will stop them off the inner, but when that dies, there's no defense. VKE pulled back. They've gotten some kind of a trade here, but PNG still open up the turret and give their Baron, their Red Bull Baron, in fact, new meaning.
And that's what I was going to say, like, it's 2 for 2, but the size of that Red Bull Baron power play is growing and growing every step of the way, and paIN, with only 55 seconds left, aren't really going to be able to set up on the map to get more. But this early worked out fantastically for them. Vikings, very lucky that this didn't go a different direction. See Kuri again, using that Neeko, the Hextech Protobate, to buy space onto Vikings. CarioK coming over the wall, but a great mom coming through as well. Just
she was
the
a good
space
mom.
Yeah. She raised her son well, all right. Smolder did a great job there. And it means that paIN Gaming end up trading even when it goes
much
to the
like your mother, absolute legend. Is she watching this?
Probably is, yeah.
I'm sorry I called you Diane. I was watching a TV show, and Denise, I'm sorry. But to the power at hand, you know, again, you talked about it like we're mentioning mums, because for Kati, he had such a good game set up in front of him, but it's drawn back. dyNquedo has been putting in a performance of a lifetime, and now Tristana's come to show up as well. Kuri on this Neeko has had some great engages. It's been nice to watch. I mean, look, I could go on forever here about the return of this game. It is only a 2K gold lead. I have to temper my expectations because Dragon's up in 50. And as we've seen around this objective, anything can happen as Equalizer slows down Shogun, but he's out of range.
Yeah, a bit of a wish and pray there as they sent that one out, but doesn't quite work out. I think the big one that they're really hoping for is for Gury to complete this Sonya's Hourglass before they have to try and fight this, but I think he's just going to be a little bit off. Would be nice to have some sort of invulnerability, especially if you end up like CarioK trying to come through, but with no flash on this Skarner, it becomes way less threatening. So I think it's on Kuri with his flash to get it, but they're picking him.
Exploit, and he's in! Again, the burst! Kati gets a kill, Kuri caught out, and his flash was available, but now as the defense comes through, because dyNquedo's trying to pop down the bottom inhibitor turret, he finds his mark, he gets it down, and Kati's now out! Kati's out, PNG want to take the rest of the fight, BS slowed down, we get a picture-in-picture because Kati and dyNquedo fight it out, he goes in instead, into the Smolder, he wants to take the fight, Kati can't get out of range, and gets destroyed! And he hops over again! dyNquedo! Absolute hands of steel as he heals up. Shogun's here as well. Looks for more, but will be shut down. The fact he took that 1v1 was psychotic.
Wizer though, trying to get onto Gury. Go to Equalizer.
Impale starts us off on the left. You see the Equalizer. I see an attempted steal, but it's gone. Infernal Soul, Nanaue locked up against the wall. And paIN Gaming are fighting fire with their own flame.
Vikings didn't know whether to look left or right. They were trying to decide how many members needed to deal with dyNquedo, and they got the math wrong. paIN Gaming, they get the win in the fight. A Dragon Soul, and now the base for Vikings as well.
When death is knocking, I mean, paIN weren't just going to say hello. They told it to get lost, and as they open up yet another inhibitor turret this time, an inhibitor will follow. VKE respawning. It ain't game one yet, but Infernal Soul, that sits with you for a lifetime.
And Baron in 40 seconds as well. They just reset, come back out onto the map. They're going to be in such a dominant position. I mean, the Maw of Mormortius just finished for dyNquedo off the back. Thanks to that gold he just picked up. You're going to pick up a 4th item here for Cheaton off as the back of this as well. Crypt Bloom finished for Wizer. You're in such a good spot.
So I'm just still remarking at that play bot. Like everyone else would try and run. He's like, nah, I'd win. It went full in. Got the kill, almost got out. But, you know, VKE committing so much to him, Dagda. Hurt the rest of the play, hurt their positioning. As you were saying, VKE, like, what do we do? Where do we go? running them through a muck here as Baron is spawning in 5 seconds. Now this is the next play.
And a lot of the tools that were missing for paIN Gaming are now just up. Flash for CarioK. Kuri didn't have to burn his flash in that last engagement, whereas we look at Kati now, very vulnerable, so you have to make sure you are coming in very carefully to the spaces Vikings. This choke point could spell their death, or it could be great for them if paIN Gaming overextend.
Yeah, has been the one engaging. He's looking for an angle. Nanaue the same as well, but impaled in. Wizer's going to crisp him down and engages all he's got left, but a pop blossom sends him down! VKE don't know what just hit them as paIN Gaming from the brink of despair have brought their frown upside down.
It was a strong early game from paIN Gaming, but Vikings bid their time waiting for items, but it does not matter. The team fighting for paIN is bringing the pain to the VCS.
Big step ups. Wizer, you'll get a mention in the after game anyway, but at 33 minutes in an elimination best of 3 there's no minions here to debuff for the time being, but there soon will be. paIN dagged up, inflicting the sword on VKE. The next Nexus turret to follow, and Brazil is not out of this world yet.
paIN Gaming showing up clutch here. They looked good against PSG Talent, but just couldn't quite get the win. But now, a domination in the team fights is massive success for the CB Law.
That man right there, a huge performance on the Tristana. And we had so many highlight points for VKE, but then it was just one moment, one snap, and the CBLOL struck. Game 1 over to paIN Gaming. We have to see if VKE can stay alive because they're against match point. They're on elimination point here at Worlds 2024.
Red Bull gives you wings.
在抵达那一刻之前，
你能做的只有等待。
如果故事再重来一次，我想 Jackie Lau 还会做出相同的选择。
等待比分失衡，企图从中看清胜负的端倪。
等待一切安静，好听清自己脑海里的声音，直到抓住那一刻。